So this is episode 6, I believe, of Small Talk. Is that right, guys and girls? Yeah. Episode 6. Another special guest, the iconic Conor Heeney, S&C coach at Liverpool John Moores University. Originally from down south, Conor, where originally from?
That's one, yeah, Devon, Barnstable, North Devon.
Very far away.
Very far.
Yeah, it's a track. Yeah, big time.
So, Conor, I used to work with him when I was at uni. Obviously, S&C coach used to do. He still does elite para athletes and elite able-bodied athletes. So this episode is all about that. So, Conor, can you tell me how you got involved with S&C?
Yeah, it's not a particularly great story in terms of how I got into it. I was never a good athlete. I was pretty much average at everything, slightly better than the average person, but just so average at pretty much most sports, which obviously made me want to get into sports as a kid, but I was never good enough to go into one. So went to university, went to LJMU, sort of picked sports science because it's quite a broad course. It allows you to sort of then specialize in certain areas that you want to after 3 years. So went in sports science, and then like 2 years into sports science, we did an S&C sort of module with Carl and Evans. You'll know him, Isaac. So we've done that, and then I started thinking like this is quite interesting. Like you get to work with people, you get to coach people. It's very personable, but at the same time you can use quite a lot of like analytical skills. So it blends a lot of things together. So then went on to do that, worked at a MMA gym for a couple of years, and then that sort of led on to then me doing an MSc. So I did my master's in strength and conditioning at LGMU. Luckily from there, got 2 jobs working with yourself, Isaac, with the TAS program, and then also at Liverpool Ladies under 21s as well. So great experience, and that led me on to head of S&C, which somehow I've managed to blag that job.
Yes, lad.
John's a Liverpool fan.
Are you a Liverpool fan, Conor?
Yeah, big time. Yeah, love him.
Well, I don't know how to feel about that if you're from Devon, but I'll give you a bit of a doubt.
You tend to find, because my family's Irish, you tend to find lots of Irish people.
Oh yeah, interlinks.
To be sure now.
To be sure.
So, Conor, so you mentioned then you train para athletes. Do you find a difference, or the first para athlete you come across, were you a bit nervous to train him, or what?
Yes. So my first sort of exposure to training para athletes was at the EIS Sheffield, which is where Isaac's at the moment. So I was lucky. I was fortunate enough to get onto the placement. So a placement on part of the MSc year is you can have the option to go to EIS Sheffield. So obviously there you've got 2 wheelchair basketball squads. So you've got the male and female. You've obviously got the para table tennis and then also the para badminton. So that was my sort of first experience coaching para athletes. And I'm not gonna lie to you, at the start I was like, I'm so out of my depth. I don't know what to do. I've never seen this before. I've never experienced like this sort of movement. You can't learn it in a textbook. And so it was a hard experience at the start, and then obviously I talked to the coaches that they were really, really helpful with me. And then you just get used to it. Like once you realize they're just people, they're just trained in the same way as anyone else. So you don't necessarily approach it from a different angle. It's just when you get into it at the start, it's very much it's a new sort of idea, concept, and philosophy, but the principles are the same. You're just training an athlete for a certain adaptation at the end of the day.
Yeah, I always tell people like, who have got any questions like that, you just treat everyone, no matter if they're disabled or able-bodied, you just treat them as an individual, because everyone's got each different needs to train.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those where I think it's not because they're disabled. The reason it's difficult isn't because they're disabled. It's just because you've never been experienced to that before. So all the way through your training, your education, it's very much X, Y, Z. This is what you do. But then when you get thrown into an environment where that doesn't work anymore, it's sort of like it's awesome because you've got problem solve, you've got to figure out how to do things, why you've got to do things this way. So it's massively rewarding from that sort of view.
Definitely.
Interesting. And you said you was in the MMA industry. Are you much of a fighter yourself?
What do you think?
I used to do kickboxing year 10, so I just
in year 10.
Yeah, I used to.
In year 10.
Yeah. So what I'm going on about is, so you've had experience with elite para athletes, and you've you've done S&C bits with obviously Meatball Molly and Jazza Dickens, and obviously you do stuff with the TAS athletes, and that can vary from boxing to rugby league and stuff like that, and women's football. What would you say the biggest difference is? Would you say in personality traits? Would you say obviously disabled people have a little bit more differences to deal with outside of their sports?
Yes, that's a great question, because obviously it's n equals 1, so everyone's going to be slightly different to other people. I find that once you get over your own personal barrier of working with people who are slightly different, then it's an amazingly rewarding experience, especially because I feel like para athletes are very open, because they've got to be, because that's the nature of the world and who they are, and they've almost got to always explain sort of how did they get this, what was the scenario. So they're very open people regardless, and because of the relationship that you sort of need to garner with people who have had, let's say, disabilities, whatever that might look like, you need to get to know them a little bit more than you would someone who can just crack on in the gym or whatever that looks like, because you need to understand their problem, their situation. So there's constant conversation, the constant understanding of what's going on. So for me, you can connect with them on a deeper level, for sure. Personality traits, I don't think massively there's any personality trait differences. I think people might think there would be, but I haven't found it myself. I think, as you said, Sean, like we're just your people. You know what I mean, it's very easy to say, oh, there's a massive difference, but realistically, there's not. I don't think.
I feel like, well, not feel like, coming across some athletes though, I feel like a lot of them are more determined. You know what I mean, to prove like, oh, I could do this, I could do this. Well, obviously, maybe able-bodied people are like that as well, but I think with athletes, they always want to try and do that extra rep or whatever, just to try and prove a point to not just themselves, but like to the coach as well, because it's almost like a feel of like being accepted in like the group environment and helping them to progress further in that sport.
Yeah, and exactly. I personally think that S&C can like help para athletes an incredible amount. So I think they tend to know that as well. So they appreciate all the training, they appreciate all the help, and like it's almost a case of stopping them from coming into the gym, because they'll just keep doing it. They'll just keep coming and keep trying to improve, because they have an end goal, and it's like, I need to get this, because like it's just, for them it's a huge thing for them to be able to do, get whatever trophy, get whatever, because that's their whole life is so consumed in this sort of one goal.
Yeah, and I think for me personally, I think obviously with disability, I think with coach relationship, it can even be stronger than normal able body, because say, for example, I go to the shop and some kids looking at me whilst I'm buying some milk or something. I'll go into S&C, bang on about it, and then that just makes it stronger. So would you say your relationships with elite para athletes are a little bit stronger than able bodied, or?
For sure, yeah, like without a doubt. So obviously, me and yourself get along quite well, but you're quite an outspoken person, regardless. But you always tend to find, I tend to find anyway, one, yeah, it's more rewarding, but two, I can connect with them, and like I'm a coach who likes to sort of connect to athletes just on a personal level. So for me to be able to do that with para athletes, like it's huge for me. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I can, like, personally, as an S&C coach, that's what you want to do. You want to work with people, you want to create connections, you want to help people to get to wherever they want to be. So yeah, para athletes that sort of tick all those sort of boxes, if you want to call it that.
Just what sort of disabilities have you worked with?
So obviously all the ones at Sheffield, so you had table tennis, you had both wheelchair basketball sports, and then badminton as well. So then I've worked with loads of sort of cerebral palsy footballers as well. So we've got quite a lot of those on the TAS program. More wheelchair basketball players as well. Quite a few blind footballers. So Roy Turnham, Rainbow.
I know Roy. I actually know Roy. Scouts Roy.
No, I think he's from Hull, isn't he? Is he?
Oh, maybe it's different.
Yeah,
Roy.
yeah. So Roy Turnham, yeah, awesome guy. And like working with those guys, like they just defy everything. Like honestly, obviously he's fully blind, and you could just let him do the whole session in the gym. You wouldn't have to say a word to him. He just do like as if he was fully able. It was just incredible to watch. Like certain feats like that, you're in awe. Like, you just sit back and it's like, you crack on, you do what you want.
That's off to you. And then it just motivates you even further as a coaching aspect, I reckon, because you just look forward to the next session. And then if other people are in the session, you're going to see you're going to see them get motivated, because obviously a fully blind person doing a full S&C session without assistance, it's absolutely incredible.
It is
incredible.
And he brought his dog as well, which was awesome. Yeah,
I think I met his dog, to be fair. There's a couple of S&C sessions.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah. So lockdown. Generic question, I know, but how's it gone in 2020 for you as a qualified S&C coach?
It was okay. Look, it was tough for everyone at the same time. But when I was at Liverpool, obviously there was a transition period when in between lockdown, I went from Liverpool under 21s to head of S&C. So there was a bit of a change, and so, but then as soon as we sort of tried and get back into university, like it was tough, but the university was really helpful in sort of managing everyone getting back, and we sort of were able to carry on our job as well as we could if there was no lockdown. So we were in the fortunate circumstance where we were allowed to do that. So for me, it wasn't amazing. It was challenging, but I wouldn't. People definitely had bigger challenges than me, because I was fortunate to be able to sort of get around a lot of the challenges.
Very interesting.
So, with disabled athletes, what do you feel like challenge? Like, not disabled athletes in the case, but for me, like, I work in the gym, so I want to try and get more people with disabilities who are, not afraid to get out of the house, don't want to come to the gym. But I feel like there's a lot of elitists in the gym, in the disability sports. So they see an athlete doing well on the TV and they think, well, I can't do that. And that's all goals. So what would you say to like people?
The grassroots, the foundations.
So what would you say to like those type of people who just want to come in and get active? Because like you said before, it could be so beneficial for people with disabilities.
Yeah, it's hard. And I'm not going to lie, it's not my forte, but I think a lot of the things that are going on now is just getting, I wouldn't even say necessarily getting people into the gym, because gyms are very scary environments, especially for anyone going in for the first time. But I think the more opportunities that you can give for grassroots, like whatever sport it is, the better. And I think the amount of funding and stuff that's going on in disability sport at the moment is fantastic. Like you see something popping up every single day. So I think it's sort of just finding the community or area that you want to go into and understanding that no one actually cares. Like no one, it's a hard one, because like no one actually cares as much as you, which is a funny thing. So like someone comes to the gym, like I've done it myself, where I've booked out the whole gym just for one person, because I know it's quite a daunting experience for them. But after that one session, I just filled the gym back up again, because like you're like, it's a very cliche and it's very easy for me to say that, but no one in the gym looks at someone disabled. If anything, they're just like, fair play, man. Like you're smashing it, you're killing it.
No, I agree. I feel like a lot of gyms and a lot of like team sports and stuff like that, like it's got like that community environment, so like everyone wants everyone to do well. So like, I feel like you say, it can be very daunting, but once you get in there and get active, like you do, like you say, it's for yourself, it's benefiting yourself rather than no one's bothered really.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is a testament to you guys as well. Obviously, you're using this platform to sort of spread that word, spread that message. So the more people like yourselves who are sort of pushing it, the better.
Yeah, certain role models in life. Like for example, like when you go out on a night out and you're 18th, you're a bit worried, aren't you? Am I going to get ID'd by the bouncer? But I walk in nervous and I'm like, am I going to get ID'd? But nah, I go straight past, and then that's confidence, isn't it? It's a bit an example, isn't it?
Exactly. Great sporting example of a role model there.
I feel like it's an example anyway.
Yeah, nice.
Big shout past the bouncer.
Yeah, to get past the bouncer without them IDing you, that's a bench boost, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a power move, isn't it? It's a power move.
Yeah. Sean did well on the bench press, by the way. Didn't you get a PB this week?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I did. 135 kilograms.
That's lad. Isaac, tell me what are you squatting these days? Tell me that.
I've got a different S&C program, so I can't fully confirm that.
Oh, okay, yeah, confidential.
Can't fully confirm that. So we've got a new fun initiative to this podcast. We've obviously spoken about the past few weeks about different what people have for tea, but I'm going to switch it up a little bit. So obviously this is a nice Christmas edition, I reckon, 15th of December. Question of the week is, if you used to have a dinner tomorrow night and you had 4 guests could be celebrity, it could be anyone who's sport related, or it could be any close family friend or friends. Who would you pick and why?
Oh, COVID guidelines don't apply.
That is a very, very difficult question. You put me on the spot here, Isaac. Okay, so Tyson Fury, just for jokes. I think that would be bad enough. He'd be one. You'd want to mix around the table, wouldn't you? Maybe like David Attenborough. He'd be a fun guy.
Very well spoken man. Very well spoken man.
Yeah, very well. He's the GOAT, isn't he? So you'd bring him in.
I could fall asleep listening to him.
Yeah, exactly. Mate, I'm a big fan of Graham Norton. He would host the event, so I'd get him in.
That's quite good.
Do you know what I mean? Like he just.
I doesn't know who Graham Norton is. Look at his face.
I'm trying.
What? Yes, sir.
The Graham Norton Show.
Yeah. And then for my last guest, whoa.
Gender equality, Conor. Come on, get some women in there.
Hey, help me out here. Who would you bring in? Who would be the last? Who would fit in
I'd
that
have a
table
singer
there?
me. I'd have a singer me.
Rihanna.
Yeah.
Yeah, Whitney Houston, mate. Best singer of all time.
Whitney, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it's a good question, but it's a hard question.
Fair play. There's one empty seat there.
Exactly, yeah. I'm yet to be impressed.
So, moving on. We've obviously spoken about the differences of elite para-athletes and able-bodied athletes. Regarding as a UK sport, what would you want to see in the future coming into 2021? Obviously, 2021 Paralympics and Olympics still needs to happen. What do you want to see in the future regarding equality? Do you think it's at the right playing field? Do you think people are accepting Paralympic sport, or does there need to be anything needs to be done?
For me, the trajectory is on the right path. Do you know what I mean? Where it's as long as the momentum keeps up. So if we take the last Paralympics or the London 2012 Paralympics, like if we can keep that going throughout all the Paralympics, that's the one. Because if you're talking about inclusivity and you're talking about reach and momentum, like if you can get a good amount of people watching the Paralympics, that gains interest, and then you can just go from strength to strength, especially on those, like if you do well on the Paralympic side. But I think there's a lot of good things going on in disability sport. I know there are more things to do in terms of funding, but the trajectory is right. I just think they need to keep on the same path, especially if the Paralympics. I think if they can nail that, that'll be huge.
Exciting! I'm excited for the Paralympics. See how
it unfolds.
Yeah,
who are you most looking forward to?
What event or what person or what?
Anything, person, event.
Oh, it's a hard one. I'm looking forward to watching badminton for the first time in a Paralympics. The powerlifting, obviously supporting my teammates. I've got quite a lot of friends in athletics as well, so I have a high interest in that. I don't know. I love the whole event, mate. I'm excited. I'm excited for the Olympics.
I just think everything's going to be massive now because obviously this year break, no matter what sport you're in, people are going to support you now. Because I don't think anyone can take anything for granted now.
What do you think? It'll be the same like competitiveness because people have had a year off, lockdown. Will that affect some countries more than others? There's a lot of unanswered questions.
I can't see it affecting it that much. People are too hungry for it. People are doing it their whole life, so I don't think pushing it back a year is going to have that much of an effect.
What if you're 28 in peak prime and then you get that?
Yeah, 29. Odd number, innit?
Yeah, I'm not about 28 is not a peak prime, but I mean the 35-year-olds.
Tough to deal with it, I suppose. I'm sure they'll still.
Excited though. What's your favourite event to watch?
To be fair, I'm along with you. Watching the badminton will be crazy because, obviously, I know quite a lot of people who have been involved with the badminton side of things. So I think for me, that'll be one of the most exciting. I think that'll be quality, yeah. And the table tennis because I know a few of the guys over there.
Talking about being hungry for success, I'm bloody starving. What are you going to have to see?
I've got some tortellini. Where is it?
Tortellini.
A little bit of tortellini. Or tortellini.
Tortellini.
Yeah. I
What are you having,
that one, yeah.
Shawnee? What you having?
I don't know, but I'm back on meat this week. As sure
Yeah.
to know,
Big
I'm
news.
back on
Breaking
meat.
news.
Oh, that's big news. Wow.
He stopped having meat for a month.
5
What?
weeks.
How come?
I just did pescatarian for him. I don't know why. I just thought I like a challenge, and when
How was it?
It was all right. It wasn't amazing. Just had more carbs and chocolate. To be fair.
Yeah.
No carbs before marbs.
I need a Christmas is coming now. I want that turkey and gammon.
So to conclude this interview, Connor, podcast, shall we say, a chat. That's something informal.
A little small.
Coming into the festive period, what advice would you reflect on whole 2020? What have you learned from 2020 as a whole?
What have I learned from 2020 as a whole? Do you want like
I've got a big squat. All right. But moving on from that.
Yeah, I think like for me it was just keep networking, connecting with the people you want, like especially old mates, old friends, because a lot of people found it quite difficult. But all the connections and like the people that you met over 2020, because you didn't necessarily talk to them that much, and then it gave you an excuse to. I would just say keep those connections, keep those people that you were talking.
Keep those Snapchat streaks going.
Exactly, that's exactly what you should do. Yeah, that would be my advice.
Yeah, and goals for 2021 as on the S&C side and off the S&C side.
For me, it would be keep building the department, because I think we're in a really good place. So there's a lot of things that we're looking to do next year in terms of, so that's the career side of things. Personally, there's no major goals really. I wouldn't say.
You're living in a new house, aren't you? Is that correct?
We are, yeah. Me and JB, yeah, we got a nice new flat.
New gaff, so that's working well. Anything you want from Small Talk in the future?
I suppose you could get JB on, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, look, you're doing a great job, guys. Keep doing it. Get better at people.
Thanks, man. Honestly, you didn't have to like.
No, keep doing it, lads.
All right.
Cheers, Connor. Thank you for coming on.
Lads, an absolute pleasure.
Enjoy your evening.
Yeah, nice. Do we not get to chat to Emily now?
No, not yet. She's
no one knows her name anyway. You're giving out data protection there, lads.
Oh, really? Sorry.
No, I'm joking.
But she might be coming on for a Christmas special. To be confirmed.
Love to see it.
To be confirmed.
To be confirmed. Right. Well, pleasure chatting, boys.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Connor.
Enjoy your tortellini.
Cheers, Sean. Cheers, Isaac. Nice one.
In a bit.